Assalamu alaikum girls and a pleasant morning. Today we are going to see a poetry by William Shakespeare. Okay, Time and Love by William Shakespeare. Do you know girls who is William Shakespeare? Have you heard his name? Okay. He was born in 1564 and died on 1616. Okay. William Shakespeare's early life. He started seeing plays at very young age. Sorry girls. His early life. That is, William Shakespeare was born in Stratford-upon-Avon on April 23, 1564, in the family of John Shakespeare. John Shakespeare, who is John Shakespeare? He is the father of William Shakespeare. Okay, a glove maker and leather merchant. What his father is doing? Working. He is a glove maker and a leather merchant. Okay, and Mary Arden, his mother, Shakespeare's mother. Okay, a landed local heiress, William, according to the church register, was the third of 8 in the Shakespeare household, 3 of whom died in childhood. He was the third child in the whole family. They are having 8 brothers and sisters, that is siblings. Okay, in that Shakespeare was the third one. Okay, is it clear? John Shakespeare had a remarkable run of success as a merchant, alderman, and high bailiff of Stratford. During William's early childhood, his fortunes declined, however, in the late 1570s. Okay, his father was working very hard and a successful merchant. Okay, is that clear, ma? Okay. Okay, here we have his background. William Shakespeare first made his mark on the literary globe in the competitive theatre business in 1587 in the city of London. First made his mark in the literary globe theatre. Okay, in the year 1587, where? In the city of London. Okay. Is it clear, ma? Okay. Then he wrote dramatic comedies influenced by the Queen Elizabeth I, followed by fantastical tragedies that gained support from King James I. Here he started writing dramatic comedies. Okay, and comedy there was a drama. Okay, influenced by where he got influenced. He got influenced by Queen Elizabeth I. Okay, followed by fantastical tragedies. Okay, and after that he started writing fantastical tragedies, very famous tragedies that gained support from King James I. Okay, and he got support from King James I. Is that clear? Okay. Around the year 1598, there was an enforced absence from theatre in England, which allowed Shakespeare to focus more on poetry as opposed to playwright. Here, in the year 1598, there was some issues going on in the theatre in England. So he was focused on poetry because there was an opposition for playwriting. So he started focusing on poetry. Okay, this is the assumed time in which Shakespeare wrote his 154 sonnets that are known and read today. Here it made that opposition made him to focus on poetry, and he started writing, and he has written 154 sonnets, okay, that are known and read today. Is it clear? Okay. He started seeing plays at very young age. Okay, he started writing his plays at very young age. Okay, taught himself how to read and write. He taught himself, okay, how to read and write. Followed his father and became a love maker. Traveled to London to start his career. Is it clear? Okay. Is it clear, ma? Okay. Shakespeare's greatest works. Okay, his works are divided into 4 parts. Okay, first one is tragedies, then second one is comedies, and third one is histories, and the fourth is sonnets. Okay, he has written many tragedies like King Lear, Othello, Macbeth, Hamlet, etc. And in comedies, you have Midsummer Night's Dream, All Saints That Well Else, and Tempest, As You Like It, etc. Okay, and in histories you have Henry IV, Part 1, Part 2, and Henry V, King James, Richard, etc. Okay, in comedies, that is all ends wells, all wells that ends wells. Okay, is it clear? Okay. Then we have sonnets. He has written 154 sonnets. Okay, what is sonnet? Sonnet is a short poem of 14 lines, okay, using any of a number of formal rhyme scheme which has an iambic pentameter. Iambic means that the first syllabus is not stressed in each of the feet, the groups of syllables in the poetry. The second one is stressed. First one is not stressed and the second one is stressed. That is called as iambic pentameter. Iambic and pentameter means there are 5 of these feet. Meter is the rhyme of the poem. Okay, sonnet is a short poem of 14 lines. It consists 14 lines. Is it clear? Okay. Here his married life. He got married in 1582 to Anne Hathaway, who was pregnant at the time with their first daughter. Had twins in 1585. Sometimes between 1585 to 1592, he moved to London and began working in theatre. He is a poet, playwright, and actor. Okay. Even today, Shakespeare lives on. Okay, we can relate to his tales of love, hatred, revenge, courage, trust, and deception. So much of our world today has been influenced by Shakespeare. Okay, here we have poetical lines. Here's Sonnet 64. When I have seen by time's fell hand defaced the rich proud cost of outworn buried age, when sometime lofty towers I see down raised, and brass eternal slave to mortal rage, when when I have seen the hungry ocean gain advantage on the kingdom of the shore, and the firm soil win of the watery main, increasing store with loss and loss with store. When I have seen such interchange of state, or state itself confounded to decay. Ryun had taught me thus to ruminate, that time will come and take my love away. This thought is as a death, which cannot choose but weep to have that which it fears to lose. These are the poetical lines. There is Time and Love, poetical lines by Shakespeare. Okay, now we will see the explanation about the poetical lines. Here we'll see the line starts, that is, when I have seen my time's fell hand defaced. In this line, the poet says that he has seen how time has destroyed, okay, defaced, destroyed. I have seen by time's fell hand defaced, okay, and defaced the beautiful monuments, that is, destroyed the beautiful monuments, things, rich proud cast, okay, of outworn buried age. Rich proud cast, that is the beautiful monuments of famous men, outworn buried age, and tall monuments raised down to the ground, lofty towers. I seen down raised, and how the metal brass has become a subject of human rage and destructions. He has seen how the powerful, the hungry ocean. I have seen. Now he tells that he has seen how the powerful, the hungry ocean. I have seen the hungry ocean again has swallowed up land, advantage on the kingdom of the shore. And again, how land itself has reclaimed the same from the ocean, the firm soil, wind of the watery main, turning loss with gain and gain with loss, increase store with loss and loss with store. Here he tells about the kingdoms also. Okay, it is like it is swallowing and it is again becoming, okay, new things. That is vice versa. Okay, increasing store with loss and loss with store, like that. Okay, and after he has seen such differences of natural states, that I have seen such interchange of state that keep interchanging into other, and when the same thing get rotten and decayed, state itself confounded to decay. The destruction of such things Dune had taught me has caused him to reflect upon the fact, thus to ruminate that a time will come when his love, the fair youth, will also be taken away. Time will come and take me love away. That is, he is telling that everything will be destroyed one day. Okay, everything will be taken away from me. Okay, my wealth, my love, my everything will be taken away. Time will come and take my love too away from me. Such thoughts, he says, are like death to him. Okay, if he thinks about like these things that time, it is those things are like death to him. Okay, this thought is as death, which makes him weep and mourn. Okay, if he thinks about that, if that is his love life will be taken away, that time what he do, he weeps, okay, and mourns. That is, he will become very sad, which cannot choose but weep over what he has in life, which he is afraid of losing. Okay, he will not do anything because he is helpless. Okay, time will come and everything will be taken away from him. So what he will do is just he weep over what life will because of losing, afraiding. Okay, he will weep, he will cry, he will become sorrow, sad, to have that which it fears to lose. Is it clear? Okay. In the 11th line, he tells that ruin had taught me thus to ruminate. Here it is a very best line, okay, phonetic line. It tells that it is a great example of always saying you should never let your past interfere with your present. Okay, that is ruin had taught me thus to ruminate. Okay, you should never let your past interfere with your present. Okay. Although when he goes to stay, although in this line, this thought is as a death which cannot choose, but weep to have that which it fears to lose. Here, Shakespeare scrutinizes the idea of losing his loved one to time and views time as an agent of death. Okay, Shakespeare reference to outworn buried age demonstrates the idea of his loved one being consumed or worn out, taken away by time and age. According to that, he thinks that he feels he says that this sonnet takes up again the theme of time's swift passage, okay, and the destructions of all the things. Here, and he tells about the destructions. Okay, time will come and everything will goes off. Okay, so he tells it is also a destruction of all the things. The thought behind this, it is a universal and the usual that is its course. Okay, the poet regards his reactions to seeing the elaborate monuments to the dead in churches, which, however rich and costly, are subject to decay and destruction, and to the gradual effect of change on sea and land. He tells about the monuments which he sees in the church. Okay, it has become they were very costly, but now it is a subject of decay and destructions. Oh, is it clear? In that he tells about also he tells about the change of sea and land. This promotes him to consider that his beloved will also be subject to the same forces. Okay, a thought which adds a deep sadness to the unclouded joy of loving. Whenever he thinks that his loved one will take away from him when time comes, that time he will become very sad. Okay, the joy of loving. The theme is the universal one of the passage of time and the ravages of decay as they affect human life. Literary influences as which could have shaped Shakespeare's thinking on the matter of date back to the Bible, as well as ancient Greek and Roman authors, many of whom were available in translation. Often quoted in this context is Horace, who ended one of his book of odes with claim. There is many writers has criticized him, okay, because of his usage of words. Here, defaced is an technical term of destructions of images in church. Example, whitewashing of the wall to do away with mural painting, etc. And then lofty towers. Lofty towers such as monastic belfries, although perhaps more the very late development in line with the kind of architecture which went into the so-called old churches of the late 15th and early 16th centuries. Brass eternal. Brass eternal in a church context suggests the ornamental brasses on the floors of the church. Mortal age would be evident by the energy zeal with which they were detached from there and they hauled away to the melted town. Okay, this sonnet is about the destructions of life. Okay, everything will live. He in this poem he tells about the church and the monument and the things which belongs. Okay, everything will be decayed one time, and he at last he tells that by concluding that my love also will be taken away from me, and it is a very sad thing to me, it is a death thought to me. I only do is I only weep and cry and mourn for that thing. Okay, in this last quarantine the speaker applies this lesson to their own situation, realizing that the death is inevitable and time will come and take his love away. That is, it is unavoidable. Okay, it will, the time will come and it will taken away. Is it clear? We have to accept the truth. Is it clear? Okay, that is, he is telling everything will go off, everything is a everything has a destruction, so we have to accept the truth. Is it clear, ma? If you have any doubts, you watch the video, and if you have any doubts you ask me, I will definitely clarify your doubts. Thank you.